In a dramatic and closely watched case, the Supreme Court has delivered a stunning blow to the Trump administration's trade agenda, ruling that the president overstepped his authority in imposing sweeping tariffs on a wide range of imported goods. This isn't just a legal setback for the administration, it's a fundamental challenge to the way the White House has managed trade policy for years, calling into question the very foundation of executive power in economic matters. Billions of dollars in duties on global goods are now in question, with enormous implications for consumer prices, business costs, and the delicate balance of international relations. The decision strikes at the core of Trump's America First strategy, putting a significant check on presidential power and sending a clear message about the limits of executive authority. The court found that the administration misused its legal authority, triggering a cascade of legal and financial consequences that could reverberate for years to come. Businesses that paid these tariffs now face a dramatically changed landscape, with many scrambling to understand how the ruling will affect their bottom lines and future operations. The ruling could force the government to refund billions to importers, shaking the U.S. Treasury and sending shockwaves through global markets. Will tariffs vanish overnight? Will new ones appear under different legal frameworks? The uncertainty is palpable. Uncertainty now grips businesses and governments worldwide as they try to anticipate the next moves in a rapidly shifting trade environment. The decision marks a major shift in the balance of power between the executive branch and Congress on trade, potentially restoring more oversight to lawmakers and changing how future trade policies are crafted. It affirms that even broad presidential authority has limits, especially when the economic stakes are this high and the impact on American businesses and consumers is so profound. The rules of American trade have been fundamentally altered, opening a pivotal new chapter in economic history and setting a precedent that could influence future administrations. Now, the world waits to see what comes next, as leaders, businesses, and citizens everywhere brace for the ripple effects of this landmark decision. To truly grasp the Supreme Court's decision, we need to look back at the chain of events that brought us to this pivotal moment in American history. It all started when tariffs became Donald Trump's signature move, a defining feature of his presidency and a major shift in U.S. economic policy. Trump campaigned on promises to rewrite trade deals he claimed were unfair, and he used tariffs, essentially taxes on imported goods, as his main tool. This marked a sharp break from decades of bipartisan support for free trade, signaling a new era of economic nationalism. Citing national security, Trump imposed duties on steel and aluminum, even targeting long-standing allies. The trade war escalated dramatically with massive tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, sparking global tensions and uncertainty. The administration argued these tariffs would revive American manufacturing, protect jobs, and increase government revenue. However, most economists pointed out that the costs were largely passed on to American consumers and businesses, leading to higher prices on everyday goods and uncertainty for workers. Unsurprisingly, lawsuits quickly followed. Companies and trade groups challenged the president's authority, arguing he had overstepped the legal limits set by Congress. The legal fight wasn't about whether tariffs are a legitimate tool of policy, but rather about who has the constitutional power to decide when and how to use them, the president or Congress. These legal battles wound their way through lower courts, with each side arguing over the balance of power, until finally reaching the Supreme Court for a definitive answer. Today's decision is more than just a verdict on tariffs. It's a legal reckoning for a policy that defined an era and tested the boundaries of executive authority. At its core, this case is not just about trade or economics. It's about the fundamental limits of presidential power and the checks and balances that define American democracy. The story of how we got here is a powerful lesson in the far-reaching consequences of aggressive trade policy, and a reminder that every decision at the top can ripple through the lives of millions. In the wake of the Supreme Court's ruling, the White House is scrambling to salvage its trade agenda. Officials are racing to find alternative legal pathways to keep tariffs in place, exploring other sections of trade law. But these options are slow, complex, and likely to face new legal challenges. President Trump remains defiant, vowing to find another way to protect American industries. For businesses, this means more confusion. Will tariffs disappear or return under a new name? Trade groups urge caution, warning, the trade war is far from over. The business community is caught between relief and anxiety, unsure how to plan for the future. Congress is being lobbied to reassert its authority over trade. The scramble for a Plan B in Washington is matched by a scramble for clarity in boardrooms nationwide. The aftermath of the court's decision is chaotic, with everyone searching for answers. With tariffs struck down, importers across the country are now asking a crucial question: will we get our money back? For years, businesses have paid billions in tariffs, often with little notice or warning, and now they're eager to see if those payments might be returned. In theory, the answer is yes. Detailed customs records and payment receipts show exactly what was paid, when, and by whom. These records are meticulously kept, providing a clear paper trail for every dollar that changed hands. But the U.S. Treasury warns that refunding what could amount to $1 trillion or more would be a logistical nightmare, unlike anything the government has handled before. Tariff rates changed constantly over the years, and untangling the web of payments, adjustments, and exemptions is a massive, complicated task that could take a long time to resolve. Customs brokers and administrative staff are already overwhelmed by the sheer volume of paperwork. Processing these refunds could take years, adding even more pressure to an already strained system. Importers argue that administrative difficulty shouldn't be an excuse. They point out that if the government was able to collect the money quickly, it should be able to return it just as efficiently, without unnecessary delays. Legal battles over these refunds are almost certain. Many businesses are already consulting lawyers and preparing for what could be a lengthy and expensive fight in the courts. Even if refunds are approved, Congress may need to sign off on such a massive payout, adding another layer of political debate and uncertainty to the process. For now, businesses are left in limbo, hopeful that relief is coming, but uncertain about when, or even if, they'll see their money again. The Supreme Court's decision has opened the door to potentially massive reimbursements, but the hurdles ahead are immense and could take years to overcome. The fight for refunds could become just as contentious and drawn out as the original fight over the tariffs themselves, with strong opinions on all sides. One thing is clear: the saga is far from over, and the outcome will shape the future of international trade for years to come. The Supreme Court's decision is sending shockwaves through the global economy. Trade partners like Japan and the EU are cautiously optimistic, but uncertainty reigns. Global markets are volatile, with commodity prices swinging as countries reassess trade relationships. The ruling forces a rethink of supply chains and economic forecasts worldwide. The potential removal of tariffs could boost global trade, but new barriers may emerge. Businesses and governments are pausing investments, waiting for clarity. The underlying disputes over technology, intellectual property, and market access remain unresolved. The court's decision changes the tools, not the tensions. The world is watching, knowing the struggle over global trade is far from finished. For most Americans, the big question is, how will this affect my wallet? Tariffs have acted as a hidden tax, raising prices on everything from electronics to groceries. The court's decision could mean lower prices, but relief won't be immediate. Retailers may be slow to pass on savings, and supply chains take time to adjust. Other factors still drive inflation, so don't expect a silver bullet. Still, any drop in prices would be welcome news for families struggling with rising costs. The ruling highlights how trade policy hits home in every family budget. The impact on consumer prices will be a key test of the new trade landscape. For now, shoppers are watching price tags, hoping for relief. Even as the Supreme Court ruling dominates headlines, the U.S. faces tough trade talks with China and the EU. Negotiations cover far more than tariffs. Issues like technology, agriculture, and digital services are on the table. Recent talks with China hint at a possible thaw, but deep disagreements remain. With the EU, disputes over steel, aluminum, and tech regulations continue to simmer. The court's decision changes America's leverage in these talks, adding new uncertainty. Foreign leaders are watching to see if the U.S. will soften its stance or double down. The future of global trade depends on both legal battles and diplomatic maneuvering. The stakes are high, and the outcomes will shape the world economy. The next moves in Beijing, Brussels, and Washington are critical. To make sense of this moment, we turn to experts in trade law, economics, and business. They agree. The Supreme Court's ruling is historic, but the story is far from over. Dr. Anya Sharma, trade economist, says consumers could see lower prices if tariffs are gone for good, but warns uncertainty could erase those gains. Professor David Chen, trade law specialist, calls the ruling a powerful check on executive authority, but predicts more legal battles ahead. Maria Rodriguez, representing small importers, says her members are hopeful for relief but wary of new trade barriers. The consensus businesses crave stability, but unpredictability still rules. The administration's next steps will determine whether this is a turning point or just another chapter in a long fight. The legal, economic, and political fallout will take months, if not years, to play out. For now, everyone is bracing for more twists. The only certainty is uncertainty. November 25, 2025. American trade has entered uncharted territory. The Supreme Court's decision closes one chapter and opens another, filled with questions. Businesses and consumers are caught between hope for relief and fear of new barriers. The White House is determined to keep its agenda alive, searching for new legal paths. The stakes are high. Jobs, prices, and America's global standing hang in the balance. Will Congress take a bigger role, or will the executive branch find new ways to assert control? The future of American trade is unwritten, shaped by leaders, businesses, and citizens alike. What do you think is the right path forward? Join the conversation as we navigate this new era together.